Hello and welcome. This is One Voice here on Asia One with me, Craig Vermay. In today's show, Lebanon's humanitarian crisis continues to deepen as repeated Israeli airstrikes and military operations leave civilians trapped between conflict and economic collapse. Although diplomatic efforts have produced limited agreements in parts of southern Lebanon, the fighting and the periodic bombardments continue to force families from their homes, while many remain unable to return because of damaged infrastructure, unexploded ordnance, and ongoing security fears. More than 1 million people have experienced displacement during the latest escalation, with thousands killed and many more injured. Hospitals, schools, electricity networks and water systems remain under immense strain, while aid agencies warn that food insecurity is rising sharply and nearly 1 in 4 people could face crises or emergency levels of hunger in the coming months. Humanitarian organisations say the immediate priorities remain civilian protection, safe humanitarian access, shelter, healthcare, and a lasting end to the violence. To look at this with me is Shazia Malik, Middle East analyst. Now, thank you very much for joining me today. So, as I said in the introduction, the situation has deteriorated over the last couple of months. Can you just take me through why?
Okay, great. Thank you very much for the opportunity. This whole thing the Lebanese are facing for the last 2 years now. Thankfully, they have started now the pilot zones, but the humanitarian crisis is too great. Because I worked in the Middle East, I talked to some of my friends over there. So they have been that about 45% of these communities and towns, they have been destroyed over there. They actually gave me the names last night when I was talking to them. They told me, for example, Bint Jubail, Kafar Killa, Miz Al Jabal, Tebe, Nakura, they have been completely devastated. Now, this pilot zone that has been created and the Israeli military has started moving out of this. This is Zart al-Garbiya. But it's not only Zart al-Garbiya that was, devastated. The areas around it, like Srifa and Frown, also face devastation. The humanitarian crisis is so great. They tell me that the hospitals now only have few days' medicines. I mean, of course, we have heard U.S. and Canada and the humanitarian coalitions, the NGOs, sending the aid, but that is absolutely not enough. They don't have water and they don't have electricity, and their hospitals are facing a lot of problems. There are pregnant women, they are injured, the kids have died over there. So, and all this right in the middle of a war that was already going on in Palestine. So the population of Lebanon is just about maybe 6 million. And imagine out of 6 million, 1 million people now are displaced. My friends in Lebanon told me that people are living, there are shelters like in the theaters and in the cinema halls and the schools, because schools have been shut down, but they are living in tents on the streets, by the beach, and they have nowhere to go. We also have to keep in mind that the Lebanese are keeping the largest number of refugees from Palestine and Syria per capita in the world. So that also is creating a lot of problems. Now, this small country, it was not their fault. Israel is constantly expanding. It is constantly bombarding Syria, and it is now the 6% of the Lebanese territory. Also, they took over. Now they are moving back. They are constantly attacking Iran. So this Zionist entity needs to stop. But our friends, Uncle Sam, they are standing firmly behind them. And so this cruel war continues that kills the civilians, because it is the modus operandi of Israel, the Zionist regime of Bibi Netanyahu, to attack the civilian infrastructure, and as a result, the civilians, they face all this devastation. They said that they are attacking Hezbollah. Well, they were not, because there is a lot of collateral. around it. And now this agreement that has been done between Lebanon and Israel, which the US brokered, and they said they are going to destroy Hezbollah and they will disarm them. Who will verify this very fact? So this is really an extremely complex position, situation, and Lebanese are, in a very, very bad shape.
So, as you said there, this isn't. It's escalated recently, but it's been going on for years, and Israel has been pushing into the territory for years. People have been living in refugee camps for years, and now they're overcrowded because more towns and villages they're being forced to flee their homes. Is the humanitarian aid getting through? I mean, I don't think there's probably enough getting through, but is some getting through to these people that so desperately need it?
Yes, I was talking to my friends over there in Lebanon, and they told me that the NGOs like Oxfam and the Red Cross, they are trying to help as many people as possible, but it is not really possible to take care of everybody over there. And then the Israeli, soldiers, they were constantly announcing that people need to evacuate the area. From some areas, the people could not go, and so those blockades and those destructions that came in the way of the aid were a lot of people still have not received them. And I mean, of course, you can well imagine that if 1 million people have been displaced along with the refugees, how much is enough? Never enough is enough. And when constant bombing is going on, people are just running helter-skelter. They don't know what to do. They don't even have belongings. My friends were telling me that people just ran in, the tracksuits that they were wearing, and they just picked up their car keys and, rushed out. So, when they were running, away from the war area in the south, the humanitarian, agencies and this aid who were trying to reach them, it was not possible to reach every person who was running away, because there are concentrated places, like I just said, that they are, the Lebanese government is putting them in schools and some theaters and in some cinemas. So maybe they are reachable, but those who are still living in those areas and they refuse to, for example, leave, how are they going to be taken care of? And also this aid is not enough. So people are facing a lot of problems. Not everybody, especially I was listening to Oxfam, they were saying that water is such an essential commodity, and even they are facing now shortage of water. Medicines are not there for the wounded and those, for example, who are terminally ill. So all those things, and it is absolutely devastating for those people.
So what's stopping coming?
Israelis were stopping. They were stopping them. I mean, of course, they were not letting people, get to it. And then now that they are moving out of this area, Zatala Garbiye, I think more aid is now going to reach them. But then all those destructions of the roads and everything that is in the way, the cars, I think, cannot reach the places where people refuse to leave and they are still there. So that is the main, obstacle now in the way. So, however, if they are ready to leave those destructive areas and, come to these main centers, like the schools and the theaters and the cinemas, then they might get, some help. Mm-hmm. So that also is a huge, challenge of the agencies, reaching all of them.
So this is only compounded by Lebanon's economic crisis that it was already facing. So how is that adding to the problems?
Yes, I mean, of course, already the country was small, as we said, and then there was lesser of, the infrastructure development, and 8 bridges have been destroyed. And they were, for example, the main link between a lot of cities. Now those bridges are not there. People are not moving out of their homes from some of those, areas that are completely destroyed by Israel. So it is very difficult for the cars to reach there. I mean, of course, they can airdrop all those humanitarian, stuff over there where people still are, but that is not always possible when constantly the bombing is going on. So we don't know. I mean, Israel is a very unpredictable country. Even when the ceasefire was in place, they were constantly bombing Lebanon. Helicopters and all those, going around, they're aid workers, and they are, of course, very much afraid that they will be, one missile coming to them, or even the UN convoys. They are facing problems entering those areas in the absence of no roads and the bridges and all the rubble now, even on the area would pass by. So that is a huge issue.
So we're talking there about infrastructure problems and delivery problems. Now, if you look at the Lebanon's government and Lebanon's military, is there anything more that they could be doing to help get access into these areas?
Definitely, the military now is going to step up. The Lebanese military that has already taken control of this area, Zat al-Gharbiyeh, and I think they are now going to take all this aid to there because they know their villages and their communities where people still are. So I think they are going to be more of a help. And they will be taking. But I mean, having said that, the destruction that has been created in that country is so enormous that someone will definitely be left out at one point in time. And they might not even be seen by them. For example, those people who are living in tents in the destructive area, perhaps they will be missed by even the Lebanese military. But that is the best bet. I mean, the Lebanese army is going to now step up. That's what I was told, and that's what my understanding also is.
Mm-hmm. So are the people seeing the government coming to their help?
Yes, definitely. That's what President Aoun also said, that they are going to bring all those aid things that are required by the people. But the thing is that it's not only the displaced community, but it is also the refugees. So the problem is so big that everybody, like I'm saying this again and again, reaching everybody is actually a problem because there is not really a fully developed infrastructure in that country also. Whatever was there has been destroyed. The NGOs are coming of course, to work. Then there is the foreign aid. It's coming from Canada and the US. Canada has announced something like $37.7 million. Another $100 million has been announced for all these medical and other supplies by the US. But the Lebanese government is now trying to put its people on ground to reach all the communities. However, reaching them every single day is going to be, again, a challenge because of all that destruction of the infrastructure that has taken place in that country. So it is going to be a challenge, but definitely the Lebanese, military and the government are going to, try to help as many people as possible. But the main key role is going to be of these major NGOs like the Red Cross and Humanity and Oxfam and other humanitarian coalitions who are working already there in Lebanon.
So a few times you've mentioned it's not just the Lebanese that are being displaced, it's refugees. Are you talking about the Palestinians that have moved into Lebanon to get away from Netanyahu's war on them?
Yeah, it's not only Lebanese, like I just said earlier, that it is the Syrians and the Palestinians also, right? The largest number of refugees who are there as well. And they are also living in not really a very, good condition. Refugees are also in a state where they are just moving day to day. And so along with the Lebanese, the Syrians and the Palestinians, so the Lebanese government now has to take care of all of them. And that actually is the major problem. So it is not only their own population, it is the others also who have moved in, along with their own displaced people and, the more of the injured and the debt that they have to take care of. So reaching all those communities and providing them whatever they need is, of course, becoming a challenge for them now.
To date, I'm looking at Lebanon, and entire communities have been displaced. Essential services are collapsing, and aid agencies are warning that conditions are worsening by the day. I ask, what more can the international community do before another generation is lost to war? To help me understand what is happening and why it matters is Shazia Malik, Middle East analyst. Thank you very much for staying with me. So let's turn our attention now to more diplomatic tracks. Do you think that there's more that the international community should be doing to push for diplomacy?
Yes, that's a very good question. See, Greg, the thing is that there was a live genocide that was going in Palestine. And I'm sure you have seen now the narrative. They don't even use the word Palestine. They have just started using Gaza. So this live genocide that was going on there, people were just, paying lip service. Oh, we condemn that, what Israel is doing. But I mean, that's about it. Now, the aid agencies and all the other, the European partners and the rest of the world, they wanted to stop this one war. And now this other front, of course, opened. And so this whole region has been pushed into quagmire. Now, the basic thing over here is not only sending the aid, but stopping Israel from bombing different areas, different countries in the region. They're constantly bombing Syria. They have destroyed a full generation of Palestinians in Palestine, in their own country, and now they want to destroy this, Lebanon. I was watching this press conference of President Aoun with President Trump, and Mr. Trump said that, oh, this country has been treated very unfairly. So, sir, my question to you is, who treated this country unfairly? Was it Saudi or Qatar or Bahrain or UAE or Egypt or Indonesia, Malaysia, Pakistan, Jordan? Who? It was just one country, that is Israel, that is creating problem over there. So the countries need to step up. Now, I am extremely shocked to see the spineless European Union. They just simply don't say anything. They don't say that we are going to stop the arms supply to Israel. We are going to stop the aid to Israel. They are constantly standing with the U.S. because they don't want to annoy the bully in the region. In their region, I'm talking about in the context of European Union. So unless and until all these countries, they stand up and they say that we are not really going to stand with Israel, even if the U.S. wants to go ahead with it, only then there is going to be some dent. And then the U.S. also needs to understand they have already spent $37 billion in this senseless war in Iran that Israel pushed it into, and they are asking for another $86 billion, like Mr. Pete Hegseth told the Senate committee where he was appearing. They need to stop this. They need to use their taxpayers' money on themselves, not on Israel. So all these countries need to see what is the problem in the Middle East. The problem in the Middle East is Israel. It is not any other country. All the other countries want to stay, and even the Jews. Bibi Netanyahu's government does not really represent all the Jews. Jews have been living in this region for a long time, and they were living amicably with the Muslims and the Christians over here. And there was no problem before Mr. Netanyahu when he had these court cases on him, and he wanted to, save his own skin. And this coalition government that he is into, that is pushing them to continue this war. Only because of this, they are destroying the whole region. Now, I don't know if you have seen it, but I'm sure you might have this J.D. Vance's interview with Joe Rogan, where J.D. Vance has clearly said, the vice president, that there are elements in the Israeli government who want us to continue war with Iran. So Iran, they say that Iran's proxy is in Lebanon, that is Hezbollah, and we want to destroy them. Who will verify that you have destroyed them at all or not? And I have talked to a lot of Christian Lebanese. They are not against Hezbollah. The Europeans call it a terrorist organization. The Lebanese don't, because Hezbollah had a role. A lot of, I was watching this footage on, Al Jazeera, where a lot of people were saying that we want Hezbollah to kick out Israel from our country. So all these countries who are just, when it is a country like Pakistan or Qatar or Saudi Arabia, they see a lot of human rights, violations, and these countries, they don't follow international law and all those big things, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to Israel, nobody sees how Israel is flouting all these international laws, zero humanitarian, sentiment, zero human rights, nothing at all. And they just sit there quietly, except for, I believe, Spain. Spain at least shows some spine and they speak about Israel. So all these European countries need to sit down and see how much devastation this Zionist regime is bringing, not only in the region, because it has repercussions in the whole world. Look at the oil prices. They have skyrocketed. An ordinary person I am over here facing so much of problem because the grocery prices have gone so up. I'm facing so many problems filling up my tank. So many of my Canadians, they don't have now, they have to decide between medicines. The condition is so bad. So where to spend? So instead of providing all this aid to Israel, U.S. now should seriously sit down and think whether it is worth it that their taxpayers' dollars should go to them.
So do you think
all this money on themselves?
So do you think that Trump's war on Iran is being used by Netanyahu, who wants to portray himself as a very strong military man, in the run-up to the Israeli elections? Is he using, while the world's focus is on Iran, is he using, while the eyes are looking somewhere else, to attack around his immediate borders, like Lebanon?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, this really goes back, Greg, you are much more, knowledgeable than me. You know that this is a huge plan, and this goes back to the times of, when they said that they are going to redraw the map of Middle East, And so that is exactly their, more of an aim is. They want to change the regimes over here. They want everybody to bow in front of them. They could only bring a few countries in the fold of Abraham Accords. Now they want the whole world to see that, see, with US's help, Israel can destroy any country. So you need to bow down in front of us. And I mean, of course, these elections coming up because he wants to win. Like I just said, that he does not want to go to jail because the courts in Israel, they found out about his corruption. So just to save his own skin and tell the coalition partners, please stay in the government, don't break it, let's go together in the next elections. It is devastating the whole area, like Syria and Lebanon and Iran and all that. But I mean, where is the saner voice? What we say, sanity has prevailed. Where is that sanity? I mean, I don't really understand in the U.S. government, where are those saner voices? I mean, we saw some time back in the first, term when Mr. Trump came, there were people like John Bolton and all, but I don't see those kind of people over there. J.D. Vance is absolutely quiet. Maybe he has been told to, stay quiet and stay away from this whole thing. So nobody in the Trump administration is telling them that you are are the proxy of Israel. Not that you are running Israel. Israel is running you, and all these big, these lobbying organizations in U.S. like APEC and all that. So this whole plan of Henry Kissinger of changing the map, of making Israel the big player of the area, they are just doing this without any impunity, and nobody is stopping them.
So why aren't we getting?
He's saving his own skin. He doesn't want to go to jail. He wants to have the coalition partners. So all those things are playing in.
So why aren't we seeing more states more vocal against Netanyahu in when you look at, particularly at Israel, Lebanon?
What was your question? Are we seeing more Arab countries
why don't we hear a more vocal voice from the Arab states against Netanyahu when it comes to Lebanon?
They know that Israel is being attacked by the U.S. and they are going to face the same devastation as in Palestine and in Syria and in Lebanon. They are very small countries. They are rich countries, no doubt about it, but they are very small countries. At the same time, they don't want to annoy U.S. I mean, that is the bigger picture they are looking at. Also, they don't have huge armies to defend themselves. I mean, of course, we see one statement coming from OIC. Oh, what is going on in Palestine is very bad, or Israel is a very bad partner in the area, and that's about it. They don't want to see that same devastation in their own countries. They have trade interests with U.S. and some of them like UAE and all who have signed Abraham Accords. They don't want the missiles to be flying in their country. They saw some coming from Iran, but they don't want their countries to be turned into Tora Bora. So that is why they are just quiet. But then this needs to have a lot of moral courage. I don't think so. The Arab leaders today have that kind of moral courage that they will stand against it and say, enough is enough. Like, for example, we saw some time back in the shape of Gamal Abdel Nasser in Egypt, but then he also stood up because Israel attacked Egypt, and that's about it. So they are smaller countries. They are not really military mights. They won't be able to stand against the onslaught of U.S., in fact, because Israel is not Israel. Israel plus U.S., like they have seen in Iran, how it has been devastated and its infrastructure is being destroyed over there.
Looking at Lebanon, what needs to happen to make this situation better?
U.S. just needs to stay away from Israel. They just need to cut all the military equipment that it is offering to it and reprimand their ally, telling them, stop this nonsense in the region, right? Then we started the pilot zones. They are going to now, they will start delivering the aid to thousands of displaced people. They have already, the Lebanese government has already told, at least this is what my friends tell them, that they have started, they will start with the infrastructure development, means they will start removing the rubble and they will start making the roads and the schools that have been destroyed and other the hospitals. They are going to bring electricity back there and medicines and care and all those things. So the whole reconstruction will start now. I mean, of course, again, it is going to be with the money of the countries like Canada and US who are going to funnel some, funds over there. So they will start the reconstruction over there. So once the reconstruction starts, and if again, just on the pretext of, well, the Lebanese government could not finish Hezbollah if Israel does not attack them, God forbid, then things might move towards some sanity and peace might prevail after 2 years in this country. But if, just like in the case of Iran, everything was signed, Iranians were ready to go ahead, US was ready, but then, like J.D. Vance said, some elements in Netanyahu's government, they were not happy, and they have started now attacking Iran once again. If that happens again, and if Israel thinks that Hezbollah has not been finished, and they start this, these attacks once again, everything will just go haywire.
We're running out of time, but brief. As long as Netanyahu is sitting in that chair, is anything going to really change?
Nothing at all. No, nothing at all. And I don't even have any hope because, like, for example, if Netanyahu loses, then Smotrich might come or Ben Gvir might come. They are, I'm sorry to use this word, but they are as mad as this man is. So I with this whole lot that is there, I don't see any change coming over there.
Shazia, thank you very much for your time. And
thank you, sir.
Thank you. And that brings us to the end of today's conversation, that Lebanon's humanitarian emergency and how it's no longer just a consequence of war, but of years of compounded crises that have left millions vulnerable. Without sustained humanitarian access, reconstruction, and a durable political settlement, civilian suffering is likely to continue if the intensity of the fighting, even if the intensity of the fighting eases. The greatest challenge now is ensuring that peace efforts translate into lasting security for ordinary Lebanese family. Thanks to Shazia Malik, Middle East analyst, for sharing your insights. And as always here on One Voice, we aim to cut through the noise and bring you the stories that matter from the voices that know. And if you missed any part of today's show, be sure to go to our YouTube channel, Asia One News. And until next time, I'm Craig Vermay. Thank you for watching One Voice.